Hello and welcome live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up in the next hour, Qatar and France have brokered a fresh deal between Israel and Hamas for delivery of humanitarian aid and medication to the hostages held in Gaza. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicates to the nation Cochin Shipyard Limited's International Vessel Repairing Centre and a new dry dock. Participates in a roadshow in Kochi as well. 9 dead as an Arctic blast continues to bring frigid temperatures across the US. 6 states declare emergencies. 80% of the US was below freezing point on Tuesday night. And Indian prodigy Ramesh Babu Pragnanandhaa becomes India's #1 chess player, overtaking Vishwanathan Anand after beating world #1 Ding Lijian in the Tata Steel Chess Tournament. Well, let's start this show with the latest coming in from the Israel-Hamas conflict. Israel and Hamas have reached a deal to allow more humanitarian aid into Gaza. Under the deal brokered by Qatar and France, urgent medication will be provided to the hostages held by Hamas, and in return, Israel will allow more humanitarian and medical aid into Gaza. The mediating countries said the aid would leave Qatar for Egypt on Wednesday, before being taken across the Rafah border crossing. The International Committee of the Red Cross will coordinate the aid on the ground. The United States has welcomed the Gaza aid agreement. National Security Council spokesperson Adrienne Watson said the Biden administration welcomes the announcement by Qatar on the deal to deliver medicine to hostages held in Gaza by Hamas. White House Mideast Czar Brett McGurk was also in Doha earlier this week for meetings with Qatari leaders on the same issue. Let's now take you for a live update across to Sarah Coates joining us from Tel Aviv. Good afternoon to you. Sarah from Delhi, what more can you tell us about this deal in terms of what kind of relief and in what quantum is it expected to bring to the people in Gaza and the Israeli hostages held by Hamas?
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Well, look, just in the last few minutes, these 2 Air Force planes that did leave Qatar a little earlier today, they have just touched down at El Arish Air Base that's in Egypt. They're now being inspected by Israeli forces before this aid and this medicine is sent through the Rafah border crossing into the Gaza Strip. Now, this deal is in 2 parts. Firstly, it provides medicine, crucial medicine, to around 45 of these hostages. We do need to remember that they have been held now inside the Gaza Strip, many of them with severe underlying illnesses for more than 100 days. And there's been a lot of concern over their welfare, given a lot of these people are over the age of 80. Now, the other part means that there will be more aid, more medicine, more food to the more than 2 million Palestinians who so desperately need it. But look, the challenge here is the logistical part of it. This is one part that we do understand that Hamas was very, very concerned about, given that this medication for the hostages, these 45 people, obviously has to go to specific people. Hamas was very worried that Israel may, in fact, use this deal to track the positions of these hostages. Now, we do understand that France actually purchased this medication last week. It was arranged by the Missing Persons Forum. But look, they've come out to say that while it is good that these people are getting this medicine that they so desperately need, there is, of course, a lot of concern for the people, more than 100 people who are still being held in the Strip. Now, we do know that the International Red Cross may have a part to play here in getting this medicine to the people, paying a visit to these people, but we still do not understand exactly what capacity it will take. Now, we do know that this medicine will be delivered, as I said, through that Rafah border crossing. In terms of how much there will be, that is still unknown.
All right. And how will it be ensured that this deal is carried forward on the ground and not jeopardized by the ongoing hostilities, as the larger objective of peace is nowhere in sight?
Been one of the problems of getting aid out to these Palestinians in need throughout this conflict that has been going on for more than 100 days. Once it gets to this Rafah border crossing, simply due to the hostilities, the airstrikes, it is really, really hard for these aid groups to actually distribute this to the people that need it, especially given places like we're talking about in the north of the Strip. There's been barely any aid getting there. Now, just after this announcement that happened late last night, there were a number of Israeli strikes, not only on the southern areas of Rafah, but also in Khan Yunis, down in the south. We do understand that at this hour, Israeli tanks and other military personnel have surrounded the areas near the Nasser hospital. And look, this is an area that Israel is believes, I should say, is being used for terror activities. A little earlier this week, there was a rocket fired, as Israel says, from the Nasser hospital. Israel releasing a statement saying that Hamas operates systematically in the hospitals in the Strip and in the areas adjacent to them, using the civilian population as a human shield and exploiting hospital infrastructure. So this is a reason that we could be seeing the Israeli forces right now surrounding Nasser hospital. According to Palestinian media, at least 23 people have been killed in the last few hours in these airstrikes, including a number of children. Now, in addition to this, the Israeli military also says that it has found a terror tunnel underneath the Salah al-Din road, which is, of course, that main road that connects the north to the south of the Strip. It says it's taken that tunnel out, but it believes it was being used for fighters to travel from the northern part of the Strip to the south and backwards the other way. So, look, these are the updates from the ground. So it really will be very interesting to see this afternoon just how and this aid will be distributed throughout the Strip.
Yes, and we'll track that with you, Sarah Coates, in Tel Aviv. Thank you for joining us for the moment. Now, as Sarah was mentioning, the Israeli army has released a video on Tuesday showing another Hamas tunnel under the Gaza main north-south highway. Part of the footage was captured by a body cam mounted on a soldier going through a tunnel and walking around underground structures. The IDF says the tunnel was used by Hamas gunmen to travel between North and South Gaza undetected. The route, which stretches for hundreds of meters and is approximately 9 meters deep, was used by the Hamas for the transfer of terrorists from northern to southern parts of Gaza and vice versa. Further, the Israeli military on Wednesday said it eliminated a terrorist cell during a precision airstrike in the Balata camp in the city of Nablus in the West Bank. In a statement, the military said it eliminated Abdullah Abu Shalal, the head of the terrorist infrastructure of the camp, which planned to carry out an imminent large-scale terrorist attack with his cell members. Israelis released from captivity in Gaza reconvened on Tuesday to hold a solemn first birthday ceremony for the infant of a family still held hostage. Kafir Bibas was 8 months old when Hamas stormed kibbutz Nir Oz on the 7th of October as part of a cross-border killing spree in southern Israel. Kafir became the youngest of around 240 people taken back to the Gaza Strip as captives. Kafir would turn 1 year old on Thursday, at which point he would have spent a third of his life as a hostage. And the US military carried out fresh strikes in Yemen on Tuesday against anti-ship ballistic missiles in a Houthi-controlled part of the country. The White House said additional US strikes on Tuesday took out ballistic missiles Houthis were ready to launch. During the strikes, one of the missiles struck a Greek-owned vessel in the Red Sea. Attacks by the Iran and allied Houthi terrorists on ships in the region since November have affected companies and alarmed major powers. And France, on its part, has clearly said that it chose not to take part in the US-led strikes because it wants to avoid a regional escalation. President Emmanuel Macron said the country has a defensive approach in the Red Sea and would stick to its stance. Meanwhile, in a bid to cut off their funding and supply of weapons, US President Joe Biden's administration plans to put Houthi rebels back on the US list of terrorist organizations. Meanwhile, the US has clearly said that they do not expect their strikes on Yemen's Houthi rebels to eliminate the threat posed by the group in the Red Sea. The country's national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, said this at the World Economic Forum in Davos on Tuesday. He stressed that this goes way beyond being a regional challenge, as it's regarding vital artery of global commerce.
We mobilized a coalition of countries to take strikes to degrade the Houthis' capabilities so their ability to mount sustained and complex attacks becomes more difficult over time. But we did not say when we launched our attacks, they're going to end once and for all. The Houthis will be fully deterred. We anticipated the Houthis would continue to try to hold this critical artery at risk, and we continue to reserve the right to take further action, but this needs to be an all-hands-on-deck effort.
And adding to the tense situation in the region, Pakistan has said a neighboring Iran has violated its airspace, resulting in the death of 2 children. The reaction came hours after Iranian missiles targeted 2 bases of terrorist group Jaish al-Adl on Tuesday. Islamabad warned that the incident could have serious consequences and was completely unacceptable in a statement released by Pakistan's Foreign Office spokesperson. Pakistan also lodged a protest with Tehran, and the head of the Iranian mission in Islamabad was called to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. On Monday, Iran's elite Revolutionary Guards attacked targets in Iraq and Syria with missiles. Jaish al-Adl has previously mounted attacks on Iranian security forces in the border areas with Pakistan. Updates now from the Russia-Ukraine conflict as well. 2 Russian missiles struck a residential area in the center of Ukraine's Kharkiv on Tuesday. The officials said the attack injured 17 people, badly damaging homes. Fires were extinguished in 2 buildings, while other buildings, including residential, sustained damages. Emergency services shared images of rescue teams tackling fires, piles of smashed building materials, and ascending ladders to damaged upper stories. The teams were also searching through piles of rubble to establish if others were injured. The city's mayor said there were 2 powerful explosions and said at least 10 dwellings had been damaged. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said it was impossible to take away from Russia the military gains it has made in Ukraine on Tuesday. Further, he said ideas put forward by Ukraine were prohibitive formulas for the peace process.
As for negotiations process, it is an attempt to make us refuse those gains we have achieved for last 1.5 years. It is impossible. Everyone understands it is impossible, and they, the Ukraine ruling circles, understand it, and Western elites understand it. Everyone understands. These so-called peace formulas that being discussed in Ukraine and in the West are the extensions, the continued implementation of Ukraine's president decree that prohibits holding negotiations with Russia. That is what it is. These are prohibitive demands for negotiation process.
Meanwhile, the Russia-Ukraine conflict was also discussed at length at the World Economic Forum underway in Davos. Addressing the media on the sidelines of the forum, Polish President Andrzej Duda said the country needs NATO support to secure airspace and strengthen security.
I told the Secretary General that an incident with a Russian rocket entering Polish airspace shows a clear necessity to strengthen Poland's security. The presence of systems guarding our skies, our airspace. I remind you that we are in the process of building a 3-layered air defense and missile defense system in our country. But the system is under construction. Today we need support, and that's what we discussed.
Also on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said it's very important for the 27-member bloc to unanimously approve the debated financial aid for war-torn Ukraine.
I think think it's very important to engage with all 27 member states of the European Union to get the 50 billion euro for 4 years for Ukraine up and running. And this is the phase we're in right now. It's a preparation for the extraordinary European Council on the 1st of February. It's hard work. We have discussed many different issues. For me, it's very important, and my personal priority is to have an agreement by 27. If this is not possible, we are prepared for an agreement by 26, but I strongly support and prefer an agreement by 27.
And still to come on DD India News are, UK Conservative Party Deputy Chairman resigns after Rwanda plan board. China's economy grows slower than estimated amid a worsening property crisis and weak consumer demand. South Korea announces fresh sanctions against North Korea individuals and entities linked to its nuclear and missile programs.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Lee Anderson and Brendan Clark-Smith, the deputy chairpersons of UK's ruling Conservative Party, resigned after voting in favour of an amendment to the government's Rwanda migration plan. They've become the latest Tory leaders to rebel against Prime Minister Rishi Sunak over the plan, which seeks to send asylum seekers who arrive illegally in the UK back to Rwanda. Anderson and Clark-Smith said that the proposal was not possible under the existing legal framework. The government comfortably defeated the amendment. However, the Parliament is due to hold another vote on the plan on Wednesday. And DD India's Ollie Barrett gets you more on this from London.
Well, Wednesday is a crucial day for the UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and his Rwanda legislation, because it's expected that there will be a vote on the overall legislation from MPs in the House of Commons. Now, on Tuesday, there were a series of votes on proposed amendments to the legislation, and dozens of Rishi Sunak's own Conservative MPs rebelled against him and the government to try and toughen up that legislation, which would see some asylum seekers sent to Rwanda to process their claims there. Those amendments were defeated, but damaging for the Prime Minister to see dozens of his own MPs rebelling against him. And we also saw two deputy chairs of the party resigning from their posts so that they could rebel against the government. Now, later on Wednesday, if and when we do see that vote on the overall legislation, it is still the case that the government could win that vote and the legislation would then go to the House of Lords for further scrutiny. If Rishi Sunak were to lose the overall vote on his Rwanda bill, that would be hugely damaging for his premiership. He and the government insist that they will win the vote when it comes to it in the House of Commons. They insist that that in turn will mean that the Rwanda migration scheme can get up and running, that flights to Rwanda will begin from London with some asylum seekers on board to see their claims processed there. The government says that will act as a deterrent and bring down some illegal migration routes, such as small boats crossing the English Channel. The opposition Labour Party says the scheme is unworkable, and they blame the Conservatives for the asylum system being, in their words, in chaos. Ollie Barrett in London reporting for DD India.
Sanctioned 2 individuals, 3 entities and 11 ships linked to North Korea's nuclear and missile programs. The sanctions announced have come days after North Korea fired a new intermediate-range solid-fuel hypersonic missile, which South Korea and the United States strongly condemned as a serious violation of UN Security Council resolutions. Seoul's foreign ministry said the newly blacklisted targets have chiefly been involved in illegal energy smuggling at sea. The nuclear envoys of Japan, the United States and South Korea are scheduled to hold talks in Seoul on Thursday. Meanwhile, North Korea's foreign minister has lauded cowardly ties with Russia on Tuesday. Cho Son-hui said this as she and her Russian counterpart held rare talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the Kremlin. Both of them briefed Putin on the results of their talks earlier in the day. They also exchanged views on bilateral relations and the situation in Northeast Asia. Earlier, during her talks with Lavrov, North Korea's Cho hailed progress on implementing agreements struck during Kim's visit to eastern Russia last September. Cho mentioned that top leader Kim Jong-un has invited President Putin to visit the DPRK at a convenient time. North Korean foreign minister's visit comes as the two countries have drawn closer since the beginning of Russia's military campaign in Ukraine. And DD India's Andrew Wood has more on this from Hong Kong.
I think it's an important meeting. North Korea and Russia have grown a lot closer since Russia invaded Ukraine. I mean, in a way, it's a bit embarrassing that Russia has had to go to North Korea and ask them to supply missiles and ammunition to use in Ukraine. At the same time, though, it's quite good news for North Korea to be taken seriously in that way. And Russia seems to be quite helpful, or it seems to be prepared to be quite helpful to North Korea in North Korea's ballistic missile, nuclear program and rocket program. And this does raise questions, though, about Russia's, well, sincerity in the United Nations Security Council. Because North Korea is banned by many measures from the United Nations, including measures from the United Nations Security Council, of which Russia is a member, from developing nuclear weapons, from firing rockets. And yet it seems to be that Russia is prepared to help North Korea develop its rockets, and even to the extent, as you were saying, possibly even putting a North Korean astronaut on a Russian mission to space. Sanctions haven't worked so far to deter North Korea from developing nuclear weapons and developing rockets and missiles. I think these days sanctions on, well, firstly, I'm amazed that there's anybody left or any organisations left in North Korea for South Korea to sanction. Relations have been getting worse again over the past year. North Korea has now said that it sees South Korea not as a country to be reunited with, to have unification, but as its prime enemy. So I think this is symbolic by South Korea. Don't forget also that there's an election in South Korea later this year. Of course, there's also an election in America, South Korea's main ally. And so it's interesting seeing how the scene is being set for those elections. I doubt very much that whoever wins the South Korean election will want to move closer to North Korea anytime soon.
China's economy continues to slow down amid a worsening property crisis and weak consumer demand. The country's GDP grew 5.2% in the fourth quarter, but it failed to meet the 5.3% target. Analysts also blame mounting local government debt for China's sluggish post-COVID recovery. The country is expected to roll out more stimulus measures to boost the economy soon. Now, the US Senate on Tuesday took the first step towards passing a bill to keep the government funded into March. In a 68-13 vote, the upper chamber advanced a bill that will serve as the vehicle for the stopgap measure known as a continuing resolution. It will extend government funding deadlines to the 1st of March and to the 8th to give both chambers time to approve longer-term funding. The vote will put the Senate on track to pass the continuing resolution before Friday. If passed, it will be the third short-term spending deal that the Congress has passed since September last year. Donald Trump and his Republican opponents kicked off a week of campaigning in New Hampshire on Tuesday ahead of the state's nominating contest, with the ex-president's competitors battling to slow his march to the party's White House nomination. A day after Iowans gave him an overwhelming victory in the first vote of the 2024 presidential contest, Trump arrived in New Hampshire late Tuesday after appearing in a New York court to defend himself against charges that he defamed writer E. Jean Carroll after she accused him of raping her decades ago. More than half of Iowa voters backed Trump, propelling him towards a potentially close and acrimonious rematch against Democratic President Joe Biden in the campaign for November's presidential elections. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis finished a distant second to Trump in Iowa, pushing former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley into third spot, and Indian origin Vivek Ramaswamy bowing out of the contest itself, indicating that he's more interested in becoming Donald Trump's running mate, and Trump seems to be dropping hints in a positive manner on that proposition as well. Let's get you some updates on the weather front now, as a massive series of winter storm is sweeping across the United States, killing at least 9 people. Almost 80% of the U.S. is below freezing temperatures, or it was rather, on Tuesday night. According to the National Weather Service, that's the NWS, more than 1,200 flights had to be cancelled and 4,700 got delayed, and due to which emergency was declared in 6 states: Arkansas, Alabama, Kentucky, Mississippi, New York, and Nebraska. According to the NWS, travel may become challenging in areas hit by heavy snowfall. Schools also remain shut as winter storms bring whiteout conditions. Storm warnings are in effect for almost 125 million people, as snow has begun to fall on the East Coast, affecting places including Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C. and New York. And further, North Canada is also experiencing record-breaking cold due to a polar vortex. Video shows everyday items like toilet paper, eggs, noodles and hot water completely frozen amidst the extremely icy temperatures in Alberta, Canada. The portions of northern Alberta are forecast to experience extremely cold temperatures that persist until later in the week. The British Met Office has warned that this could mark the coldest January night in the United Kingdom since 2010, with temperatures dropping to -15 degrees Celsius in parts of Scotland. This has forced schools to close in Scotland and northern England, causing travel disruption. Yellow warnings for ice and snow are in force in all 4 UK nations, with over 40 centimetres of snow expected in northwest Scotland by the end of Friday. Snow, sleet and rain are expected to blanket northern parts of the UK, with heavy frost and freezing conditions across the country. Experts warn of treacherous pavements and roads. And closer to home, as a mild cold wave is sweeping across Bangladesh, Dhaka's air quality has been marked unhealthy. Bangladesh's Met Department has forecast rainfall in various regions, including Dhaka, and thick fog in some other parts. This foggy condition may lead to temporary disruptions in air navigation, inland river transport and road communication. This situation prompted authorities to suspend classes in schools in areas with a minimum temperature below 10 degrees Celsius. Let's now get you some other updates from around the world as well. A large, intense summer storm brought hail, uprooted trees and damaged properties across Australia's west on Tuesday afternoon. Australia's electricity distributor Western Power said up to 34,000 homes and businesses were severely impacted by the storm. A large group of 24 Biggs transient killer whales were spotted traveling together in the waters near Seattle in the US on Tuesday. Biggs killer whales are different from the southern resident killer whales in that they eat marine mammals, whereas the other rely on salmon to survive. And still to come on DD India News Hour, India's Minister Hardeep Singh Puri meets top government and industry figures at Davos in connection with the Global Biofuel Alliance launched during Delhi's G20 summit. Fitch Ratings says India will remain the fastest growing large economy for next few years, revising its growth forecast from 6 to 6.9% for FY23. And we'll bring you the latest in terms of rituals and festivities in the build-up to the consecration of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya on the 22nd of this month.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated 3 major infrastructure projects worth more than $482 million. These include new dry dock at Cochin Shipyard Limited, international ship repair facility and LPG import terminal of Indian Oil Corporation Limited at Puttivepeen in Kochi. Addressing a gathering at the occasion, Prime Minister Modi said that the projects will further strengthen India's efforts towards ensuring accessible and affordable energy for all.
The digital clocks are revealed before us. A noteworthy moment for everyone present to witness and acknowledge.
नया ड्राई डॉक भारत का नेशनल प्राइड है। इसके बनने से यहां बड़े जहाज, बड़े वेसल तो आ ही सकते हैं, साथ ही यहां शिप बिल्डिंग और शिप रिपेयर का काम भी संभव होगा। इससे भारत की विदेशों पर निर्भरता कम होगी और जो पैसा हम विदेश भेजते थे वो देश में ही लगेगा। इसके साथ यहां शिप बिल्डिंग, शिप रिपेयर सेक्टर में नई स्किल्स पैदा होगी।
And the PM also said that India is again emerging as a major center of global trade and India has started strengthening its maritime power.
पोर्ट, शिपिंग और इनलैंड वाटरवेज के सेक्टर में ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस बढ़ाने के लिए पिछले 10 वर्षों में केंद्र सरकार द्वारा अनेक रिफॉर्म्स किए गए हैं। इससे पोर्ट्स में अधिक इन्वेस्टमेंट आया है और ज्यादा एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेट हुआ है। इंडियन सीफेयरर्स, उससे जुड़े जो नियम थे उसमें किए गए रिफॉर्म्स की वजह से पिछले 10 साल में इंडियन सीफेयरर्स की संख्या में 140% की वृद्धि हुई है।
Prime Minister Modi also attended a Shakti Kendra in Charge Sammelan in Kerala's Kochi. The PM stressed that despite opposing circumstances, generations of BJP workers have held the BJP's flag high in Kerala.
बीजेपी आज पूरे देश के हर क्षेत्र, हर वर्ग की पार्टी है। बीजेपी ही एकमात्र पार्टी है जिसके पास तेज विकास का ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड भी है और भविष्य का स्पष्ट विजन भी है। ये बीजेपी ही है जो गरीब कल्याण को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता देते हुए काम कर रही है। हमने गरीबों को मुफ्त राशन देने वाली योजना शुरू की और अब इसे 5 साल के लिए आगे बढ़ाया है। हमने गरीबों को मुफ्त इलाज की सुविधा दी, गरीबों को पक्के घर दिए, मुफ्त गैस कनेक्शन दिया। ऐसी योजनाओं से गरीबों का जीवन आसान हुआ है.
And the Prime Minister also offered prayers at the Guruvayur temple in the southern state of Kerala. The PM offered prayers at the sacred Triprayar Sri Ramaswamy temple. He also fed the fish at the temple. And the day also saw the PM blessing a newly-wed couple, the daughter of Malayalam actor Suresh Gopi, former Rajya Sabha member, during his visit to the Guruvayur temple. And the PM also visited the Guruvayur temple in the southern Indian city of Thrissur this morning. In the temple premises, the PM also witnessed a special and unique recitation of the Ramayana in Malayalam. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi was accorded a grand welcome by locals in Kerala. People thronged on roads to catch a glimpse of Prime Minister Modi. Locals showered flowers to welcome the PM. In news that is just coming in, West Asian nation Kuwait has formed a new government. The new government is headed by Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed Sabah Al Salem Al Sabah, according to reports from its state news agency. The 13-member cabinet includes Abdullah Ali Al Yahya as the new foreign minister, Imad Mohammed Al Otaiki as Kuwait's oil minister, and Anwar Ali Al Mudaf as the finance minister. Fahad Youssef Al Sabah has been appointed as acting deputy prime minister, minister of defense and minister of interior. Earlier this month, Kuwait's emir Sheikh Mishal Al Ahmad Al Sabah appointed Sheikh Mohammed Sabah Al Salem as the country's new prime minister. He was tasked with forming a new cabinet according to a royal decree. India's Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri has held bilateral meetings with prominent personalities in Davos on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum. Minister Puri held meetings regarding Global Biofuel Alliance, an initiative of Prime Minister Modi during India's G20 presidency last year, and India's major thrust towards clean and green energy alternatives. He met with the Varo Energy CEO Dev Sanyal and Brian Sykes, who's chairman, president and CEO of Cargill. Both parties discussed future opportunities in the field of future biofuel energy and the possibilities of collaboration between Indian PSUs and these companies. Hardeep Singh Puri also met with Marina Silva, the Environment Minister of Brazil, whom he has known already since his tenure as India's ambassador to Brazil. He later held another meeting with Oyvind Eriksson, who's the president and CEO of Acatech US, inviting him to collaborate with Indian industries in oil and gas sector, particularly pertaining to LNG infra and the exploration of large sedimentary basins. An Indian Minister for Women and Child Development, Smriti Irani, asserted that New Delhi's G20 summit ensured that the gender issue was discussed in the mainstream. This happened during a lively session on women leadership for global transformation at the luncheon meeting hosted on the margins of the World Economic Forum in Davos on Tuesday. While representing the Confederation of Indian Industry at the WEF, the minister said that it's Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision to ensure that women's issues must be addressed through concrete policy actions. India was seen among the top 5 preferred destinations for investment in the world, according to a survey by consulting and audit firm PwC. India has moved up 4 places from last year. Now it's just behind US, China, Germany and the UK. The annual survey was released on the eve of the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos. India held 9th position in 2023. India appears to have countered the impact of global economic slowdown through government spending, domestic demand and its other economic shock absorbers. The report said strong fundamentals, healthier balance sheets for banks and corporates, fiscal consolidation, manageable external balance and substantial foreign exchange reserves contribute to a positive outlook. Almost 60% of CEOs surveyed suggested that customer preference was the top driver for change, followed by technological change and government regulations. And now it's time to get you all the buzz which is being generated in the build-up to the consecration ceremony of the Ram Temple in India's holy city of Ayodhya on the 22nd of this month. Well, the temple town wore a festive look on Tuesday with special rituals including Dashrath Mahal were organized, marking the start of an event that will culminate with the opening of the Ram Temple on the 22nd of this month. 121 priests chanted Sanskrit hymns and performed Vedic rituals. The designated host appointed by the temple trust, Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirtha Kshetra, conducted the atonement ceremony. On Wednesday now, a procession will be carrying the idol of Lord Ram in his childlike form to Ayodhya, with devotees carrying Saryu water in Mangal Kalash en route to the temple. Now, as the consecration ceremony of the Ram Temple at Ayodhya draws near, preparations are on at full swing. People are eagerly waiting to get a sight of their deity Lord Ram, made by Mysuru-based sculptor Arun Yogiraj. To know more about Arun Yogiraj's journey, here's a report.
The temple town wears a festive look. Preparations are in full swing. All eyes are waiting to see the sculpture depicting a 5-year-old Lord Ram. The dark-coloured Ram Lalla idol, sculpted on Krishna Shila or black stone by Mysuru-based sculptor Arun Yogiraj, has been selected for installation in the Sanctum Sanctorum of Ram Temple in Ayodhya. An MBA graduate, Arun Yogiraj preferred the sculptor's chisel to number crunching in the boardroom. Hailing from a family of sculptors who have been involved in this profession for 5 generations, Arun's innate passion for sculpting drew him back into the art form in 2008. Since then, his artistry has flourished, leading him to create iconic sculptures that have gained nationwide recognition. Following the announcement, Arun's family members expressed their happiness and recalled the hard work put in by the sculptor for the last 6 months.
These 6 months were like Vanvas for my son. He dedicated every minute to sculpting Lord Ram's idol. Though he went on to do his MBA, Arun preferred to become a full-time sculptor.
Exuding happiness over her husband's feat, wife Vijeta said that Arun had made the family, Mysore and entire Karnataka proud.
We are very happy and we feel blessed to have such a news on this auspicious occasion of Makara Sankranti. We are very grateful to the entire nation and thankful to Ayodhya Trust for selecting Arun's sculpture Murti. We are feeling like as though we have fulfilled our purpose of life.
In April 2022, Yogi Raj presented a 2 feet tall statue of Subhash Chandra Bose to Prime Minister Narendra Modi ahead of the freedom fighters' 125th birth anniversary. He also crafted a 30 feet statue of Bose, which has been installed at the Amar Jawan Jyoti behind India Gate in New Delhi. With Bureau Inputs, Anita Raj, DD India.
And as the date for the consecration ceremony of the Ram Temple in Ayodhya comes closer, travel portals in India are seeing a jump in searches and bookings, not just for Ayodhya, but across religious places. Among the celestial hotspots, Ayodhya emerges as the reigning star. This surge in spiritual tourism not only signifies a growing interest in India's sacred sites, but also underscores Ayodhya's newfound prominence on the global spiritual map. And as Ayodhya is gearing up for the grand inauguration of the Ram Temple on the 22nd of this month, it's anticipated that there will be a substantial boost in business activities across the country. To get us more on all the activities that are unfolding in the build-up, we have DD India Siddharth Bhajwa joining us live from Ayodhya. Good afternoon to you, Siddharth. What's happening today in Ayodhya? How are things leading up to the consecration ceremony on the 22nd in terms of both the rituals, the festivities and the masses gathering in Ayodhya?
Well, definitely a very good afternoon to you too, Gautam. And Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram. This is what, everyone is saying in Ayodhya, the temple town. And, before answering question, I would like to draw your attention very quickly here behind me, when it comes to the rituals, that there was a Kalash Puja which was happening here behind me a short while ago, wherein Yajman, Shri Anil Mishra ji was doing Kalash Puja. And what happens in that, the holy water from Saryu River will be taken in Kalash, and further procedure will take place. As you know, that rituals, they unfolded yesterday. It was the first day. Today is the second day. And till 21st of January, the rituals will take place. And on 22nd of January, it's Pran Pratishtha. Everyone in the entire temple town is very excited for Pran Pratishtha. They're just waiting for the consecration ceremony and also enjoying every bit of every moment here in Ayodhya. I'm here at the banks of Saryu River, and the excitement is just, it's very difficult to put them in words. People are very much excited. A short while ago, like I said, Yajman Shri Anil Mishra ji was here. He was doing Kalash Puja. And it's a very auspicious day today, as Ram Lala is expected, to enter the Ram Temple. We don't know the timings yet, but yeah, the excitement here is just, cannot be just put it in words, Gautam.
Yes, the procession is supposed to take place today to take the idol of the child Ram, childlike form of Lord Ram into Ayodhya. So, what can you tell us about that in terms of preparations, and how is that going to unfold? Because I believe holy water from the Saryu River will also be carried in the Mangal Kalash en route.
Definitely, like I said, Gautam, we don't know the timings yet when that will happen, but I just said that puja a short while ago just took place, the Kalash Puja, and as per the information that I got, there are 9 different Kalash in which holy water from Saryu River will be taken, and that will be taken, somewhere around the temple, and then further proceedings will take place. We don't know yet because, it's not revealed yet because of the security purpose. The information that we're getting in right now is that the Kalash Puja just took place, and when the Ram Lala will enter the sanctorum, we don't know any information about that, Gautam. Coming on to the business perspective of the region, Gautam, I would like to say that when I talk about the region's development in terms of business, then the area is certainly witnessing an economic upswing. The construction of Ram Temple has transformed Ayodhya as a focal point for pilgrimage and tourism, Gautam. And also, it's a triumph for local vendors. It's a triumph for people with small businesses and big businesses as well. Also, the redeveloped Ayodhya Dham Junction railway station and the new terminal, Maharishi Valmiki International Airport, is certainly, will actually, what they'll do, they'll make access to Ayodhya, very easy. So what does this mean? The more and more influx of tourists will come into the region, it will contribute to the overall economic development of the region, Gautam. So this is what is happening. It has given a sharp rise in terms of economy to the region of Ayodhya.
Well, certainly a big boost already being seen as far as searches for Ayodhya by tourists are concerned on different travel portals, and I'm sure this will have all its side effects as well in terms of how economic activity will be boosted in the region. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Siddharth Bharadwaj. Now, the 12th General Assembly of the Asian Buddhist Conference for Peace is taking place in India after 5 decades. The 2-day event is taking place in India's national capital, New Delhi. The theme is the Buddhist voice of Global South. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar termed it as significant because India is where Buddhism was born and spread to the world.
At the 12th ABCP General Assembly, under the timely theme, ABCP, the Buddhist voice of Global South. Friends, this coincides with India's growing leadership role, amplifying the voices of Global South, as evidenced by its G20 presidency and the Voice of Global South Summit. India is committed to representing the concerns of nations with 3/4 of the world's population. The motto is soothing, as Bharat as a nation has been guided by the principles of Bhagwan Buddha.
And Indian Minister Kiren Rijiju, who was also a guest of honor at the event, said that Prime Minister Modi has always emphasized Indians are proud to belong to a nation that has given the world Buddha and not Yuddha, which means war.
Today's world, any nation which aspires to be a global leader must follow the teachings of Lord Buddha. Then only you can morally, spiritually, politically, culturally lead the world.
Wednesday morning saw India's Minister of Information and Broadcasting Anurag Singh Thakur and Delhi BJP President Virendra Sachdeva participating in the Swachh Teerth Cleanliness Drive at Sri Valmiki Mandir in the national capital New Delhi. The cleanliness campaign is being carried out at temples across the country on the call given by Prime Minister Modi. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across India with the aim to inform people about the government's welfare measures by ensuring that their benefits reach the targeted people in a time-bound manner. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra reached Hardoi, a city in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. Locals and prominent persons and beneficiaries of the various government schemes participated in the Sankalp Yatra. People also received new Ujjwala gas connections and many new beneficiaries applied for other schemes as well. And you're watching DD India News Hour. Time now to get you all the sporting updates as well. Now, Indian teenager Pragnanandhaa has beaten reigning world champion Ding Lijian in a 4th-round clash at the Tata Steel Chess Tournament. With this win, Pragnanandhaa has also leapfrogged 5-time world champion Vishwanathan Anand as the country's top-ranked chess player in the FIDE's live ratings with a rating of 2,748.3 points. Vishwanathan Anand is currently at 2,748. Pragnanandhaa also became the second Indian after Anand to defeat a reigning world champion in classical chess. India will be looking to clinch a series sweep over Afghanistan when they meet for the 3rd and final T20I at the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru on Wednesday. With the series already in the bag in T20 World Cup 2024 on the horizon, Captain Rohit Sharma and coach Rahul Dravid may look to ring in some changes to their playing 11. However, we must not forget that the IPL 2024 will run from March to May and will have a final say in what would be India's squad for the ICC event. On the other hand, Afghanistan will try to salvage some pride in the final encounter. About 100 revelers on horses dazzled as they jumped through bonfires during a Spanish purification ceremony called La Luminarias on Tuesday. The traditional nighttime celebration takes place every year on the 16th of January, the eve of St. Anthony's Day, Spain's patron saint of animals. Even if you have a horse, don't try that at home. That's all we have for DD India News Hour at the moment, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, as well as Instagram. We'll be back with more news and updates as they break here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.